So a quick overview on how to install the new style dash cams, the one that come with the screen. There's two different styles here. This particular one's a 2-in-1. So it's got the forward and the driver and the forward facing camera in one unit. We do have a different style that is the forward facing camera and the driver facing camera as a separate unit. The installation process for them is very similar. So let's just take a look at what you're going to need, what should come in the box, and anything that you're going to need to be able to install these. So this here is the dash cam unit itself. You should also have a bag with a SIM card tray, a cover, and some screws. You should also have a GPS antenna with both the GPS and 4G connectors. There is a button and there is a power harness. If this were a front and back separate unit, then you would also have a driver facing camera that would be a separate unit. Let's just go over how everything's set up before we actually look at how it's supposed to be installed. So the harness that comes from the camera has two very delicate signal wires. These are delicate, so we want to make sure that we handle these with care. There is a 4G connection that needs to be connected to the 4G on the antenna side. There is a GPS connection that needs to be connected to the GPS on the antenna side. This should ideally be mounted on the dash, but in a lot of cases you can secure it with the fuse box itself, and we'll show you that in a second. Then we've got the power harness that connects to the power harness here on the camera. There should be a arrow, a white arrow that you got to align. That's our power, and this is for the button. If this was a split cam, then this harness would essentially have a third connector, which would be for the driver facing. These connectors will not interconnect, but do take caution if a connector doesn't go in. Just make sure it's aligned properly and make sure you're connecting to the right connector. On the wiring side over here, we've got three wires. There is a ground that needs to be connected to ground. There is a constant battery and an ignition. In most cases, constant battery and ignition need to be spliced together and only connected to ignition on the vehicle side. We don't want these to have constant power. If you do require constant power to these, reach out to us and we'll go over the steps on how to do that and the potential consequences of it. But in most cases, these two need to be spliced together. Use a 3-amp fuse or a fuse tab like this, and this goes into the ignition of your vehicle. This of course is ground. Before you set everything up, what we want to do is make sure that you inspect the unit. There's no issues with the wires anywhere along the line. And the next, what we're going to do is we're going to use this bag to take this SIM card tray, pop this open. So the SIM card comes with 3 different sizes. So what you want to do is you want to use the middle size, not the one that's the smallest, not the one that's the largest, but the middle size. When you're trying to open these, sometimes the smallest, the SIM card in the middle, that would pop out. So try and make sure that that doesn't happen, because we do want this to align properly with the contacts inside the camera. So take the SIM card out. I've got one right here. I'm going to put it in the SIM card tray, and that goes in the dash cam. There is a little notch here. SIM card goes contacts facing down, and then this goes in the dash cam. There is a SIM card slot here and an SD card slot as well. Make sure to put this in the SIM card slot and don't put the SIM card in the SD card slot. That wouldn't work. So this is the only way it's going to work. So with the SIM card installed, the SD card's optional. If you want to put one in, we can send you the specs of what kind of SD card would work best. You can go ahead and install this top cover, use the 2 screws to secure it in place. At this point, make sure that you've got access to the serial number of the dash cam that's on the back, and the ICC ID number of the SIM card, because we may need those to activate the unit. Now let's go ahead and see how this unit mounts in a vehicle, and how is it that you can test to make sure everything's working properly. So we've got the unit installed in a vehicle right now. So here's the power harness coming from the camera itself. We run it all the way down to the fuse box. This is where you want to splice the yellow and the red wires together. I've done it differently, but you want to splice the red and yellow wires together, and those should go into ignition, and then the black wire is ground. Because this is mostly a plastic dash, I have also run the antenna, and the antenna is secured here as well, with the sticker side facing down and the plastic side facing up. As long as there is no heavy metal around this dash, you should be okay with installing the antenna here. If this is going in heavy equipment with a lot of metal around the dash, then you probably just want to route the wires such that the power goes into the fuse box, but the antenna is installed here. This is a single cam, so the harness has another spot for the driver facing camera, which we've installed right here. And this is the harness for the button. We didn't have use for the button, so we've just left it like this. But make sure that everything is nicely zip tied, and those two connectors, the one for the antennas, just make sure those wires aren't pinched. Pinched wires on those connectors is one of the leading causes of problems when a unit is either not getting a good GPS fix or is not able to connect to the network. So now I'm just going to turn the ignition on. And the unit with the SIM card installed and the SD card installed, SD card is optional by the way, should take a minute to boot. And once it boots, you should be able to see the screen. I can see 4G here, which means it's already connected and everything's good internet wise. I also see 6 satellites here, which means that it has a good GPS signal. Once you've applied power to the unit, it should roughly be about 2 to 3 minutes for it to connect to the network. So once you run it for the first time, allow it for a few minutes and just look at what you see on the screen. If you're seeing 4G and if you're seeing the satellite with 6 or more satellites, that means you're fine. The last step is to make sure that your video feed is good. For that, just hit the video button here, and actually let's just hit the DVR, and you should be able to see both cameras. So just make sure that you're able to see both cameras, and then we're gonna use the mounting plate. Just mount the mounting plate on the windshield, and then the camera just locks in place. Once you have it mounted, just make sure that you're able to your views and everything is adjusted properly, and then just locks in place. Once that's done, it shouldn't move, and at this point you're good to add this to your account in the portal and start testing.